Kumlan and Ablat Gemara. Today's daf is daf Nun Hey. We are up to the two dots. So our Mishnah, the last Mishnah we're learning, is discussing things which you might think they are treif, but they're actually not treif. So the last we learned was that the liver is missing, for example, but the kazai is left, according to this Mishnah. Or if, let's say, the spleen is missing, the kidneys are missing, or the bottom jaw is missing, but the simonim are still attached, and or the uterus is missing, or the lung got all shriveled up out of fear of the thunderstorms and so on. So they're all of these are still kosher. And then the last thing we have was an argument regarding the hide of the animal is missing. Rameya says it's still kosher. The Chum says possible. So we're up to the 2,000 Aleph, right in the middle of the page. Says the Gemara, the spleen went missing. First, Rabbi Vida comes along and says, in the name of Rav, when do we say that the spleen is missing, is kosher only if nittel, if it's completely gone? Avol nikif, if it's there with a puncture, that's far worse. Treifa, it is treif. Mosif Rabbi Yasi bar Avin. Rabbi Yasi, the son of Avin, asked. V'yitem others Rabbi Yasi, the son of Zerida. It says choytech meuber. It says meuber. Now we will learn a din later on in this masechta called bempkua. A bempkua is that a baby calf is found inside the mother, and when you shechted the mother, the baby calf automatically is kosher. You don't have to shecht it because everything that's inside the animal, the behema, everything that's inside the animal, you can eat. So if part of that uber was cut out, you put your hand in, then you cut part of the uber, part of the baby calf. And is it a question of Eva while the animal's alive? Is it Eva Menachai? Because Eva Menachai, even after you shecht the animal, you can never eat. So we say since the entire animal was intact, so therefore everything inside the animal is kosher. So if you cut from this baby calf that's inside the mother's womb, mutabachilad eat it. But if you cut part of the original, the mother, from the spleen, or from the kidney, aser. It is aser, ba'achila. Sounds like what? You're not allowed to eat that part, because that part was eva minachai, and therefore when the animal's alive, you cut a part of it off. Even after you shechted it, it is aser. But it sounds like the animal itself you're allowed to eat. Now, cutting and a puncture sounds to us the same thing. So how can you say that if the spleen is missing, it's kosher, but if you made a puncture and the spleen is possible, it's treif? Because clearly here that only the spleen that was cut is eva minachai, but then the animal, the mother itself, is all right. The mother itself is all right. So no daya. Who didn't feel behemoth? According to Rav, the behemoth itself is forbidden to eat, not just the spleen that you cut off while the behemoth is alive, but even the animal itself you're not allowed to eat. So how come it's just you're not allowed to eat the spleen? It's just drawing a contrast. I did a ton of reisha mutabachila. When you cut part of the baby calf inside the mother's womb, you're allowed to eat everything. You're allowed to eat the baby calf. So not for it talks about the part that you cut, but really the entire animal itself is excuse me. What do you call it? You're not allowed to eat either. I'm only focusing on the part of the spleen because that's what we're talking about. The contrast to the baby calf, but really the entire animal is treif because nikiv hatchayil is possible. Or another answer is who said a cut is a hole, a puncture is something else. A puncture is the thing's intact, and because of the puncture, things are oozing out. We're up to two dots and hey and base at the bottom, and we're going through the different things in our Mishnah that says that it's kosher. So the Mishnah says if the spleen is missing, it's kosher. If the kidneys are missing, it's kosher. Amar rochish bar papa. So regarding the spleen, we had Ravida who said name of Rabba that a puncture in the spleen is worse than missing altogether. And that's treif. Come along, Rochish Bar Papa in the name of Rav, and he says, Loksa Bekulia Achas, if there's some kind of a disease, even though we just said the kidneys are missing, it's all right. But if the kidney is there with a disease, that's far worse. Certainly for two kidneys. The last line of the page, treifa is treifa. Amri Marava, and so they said, when we say that a disease in the kidney is far worse than missing altogether and makes the animal treif, the disease penetrated all the way the makam chritz. There's a ridge somewhere inside the middle, the center of the kidney, and if that disease goes all the way to there, not just on the surface, then it makes it treif. Where exactly is this makam chritz? So we say that it is lechibra de tusi masnet. So all these the veins over there, that right underneath the loins, right in the center of the kidney. That's if the disease goes all the way, that penetrates there, it makes the animal treif. Oh, but Nechunya said she'll tinu lekula trufoid marav. I asked all the experts, and the in Trefus in the city in Ejesrol. They also have the following: Hilchas kerochish bapapa. The halach is like bapapa, that a disease in the kidney all the way to the middle it makes the animal treif. Even though missing kidneys is not a problem. But the less hilchos Rabbi Vira, who said that the Mishnah said missing the spleen is kosher, but if you said the spleen is there with a puncture, it's treif. That we don't pass like him. But then the Gemara says, when don't we pass like him? Like Amran Ela Bekusha. In the spleen, there's one end which is very thin and one end which is very thick. In the thin part, we say that the halach is not like him. Aval besum. Sorry. No, that's what we agree with him. We don't say that halach is not like him. He says it's treif, and we're going to say that it's kosher, a spleen with a hole is bekulshe in the weaker part. However, besumche, which is the top part of the spleen, which is thicker, and there's a puncture, we'll agree with him that it's treif.
Simcha doesn't mean it's more red.
Oh, here sumcha means thicker. Rashi says ba'oivi of l'mayla. The membrane itself is much thicker, or the spleen itself is much thicker. But let's say in that thick part, we said there's a puncture, it's treif. But if you didn't penetrate the entire thick part, there's still left there in the thick part the size of a gold coin, the thickness of a dinuzov, then ksheira it is kosher. Because it still protects the rest of the spleen. It's thick. It was so thick that if you have that much left over, it's still good enough. Amri Marava, they say in Ejesrol, they used to say, Kol ha-poisel, that we have like a flip side here. Kol ha-poisel bereya, anything which is posel by a lung, is kosher bekuya, is kosher by a kidney. Shahari nekev, a puncture, clearly in the first mission in this Pedic, a puncture, posel bereya, is posel in the lung, and yet the kosher bekuya. We just said we don't paskin like Rabbi Vira and Rema Rabbi. We hold that a puncture in the kuya, in the kidney, is actually take it back. I'm talking about the spleen, but a puncture in the kidney is not a problem because you don't even need the kidneys. A puncture in the kidney is not a problem. The cholshke. So now that you're telling me that the rei is more strict than kuya, a puncture in the rei is possible. A puncture in the kuya is nothing. So surely heicha the kosher bereya, things which are kosher bereya, surely is kosher bekuya. Surely is kosher by a kidney as well. Whatever we might think is treif, but we're saying the lungs. Not a problem. Same thing here. Very much of a klolu, that's a rule. Very muglo, what about pus? The kosher bereya, we learned before in the Gemara that pus, it's called simchi. It was kosher by the lung, and yet upasul bekuya. We said that if it's full of pus in the kuya inside the kidney, it is pasul. Here you have what do you say? Koshke and fakert. There are things which are pasul by the kidney, which are kosher by the lung. That's question number one. And question number two, an interesting Rashi here. Question number two is varimayim zachin. If it wouldn't be pus, if it would just be fluid, water fluid, the kshedim hachav hachas kosher here and there. Rashi says, "Lo yedaina my kusha." I don't know what the Gemara wants. And Rabbi Tais has to say something. So he said maybe what it means is that we're talking about here that clear water that comes from this disease. Where did the fluid come from? How do you get water inside your kidney? That was caused by the disease, and is kosher in the kidney, and the point is, l'chayda, you would think, what's the chiluk pus water? If it's something that doesn't belong there, it should be treif, and it's kosher, which tells you can't draw parallels, as the Gemara will conclude. Elo Rashi, we had it before already. Treif is kamedamid lahadodi. You can't sit here and say, well, this is the treif over here; it should automatically be treif. It doesn't work that way. Every treif is a unique halacha, just because in this part of the body that makes it treif. The same defect in another part of the body doesn't bother us. You cut in one part near the neck will die, and the other parts you cut the body, the shoulder, whatever it is, and it lives. You can't draw parallels, so don't draw parallels between the lung and the kidney. Now this thing you just said, fluids in the kidney is kosher. Ella ditzili if it's crystal clear, transparent. Ablakidi if it's dirty, then treif cloudy. Treifa it is treif. It's a sign that some disease and it's treif. And even when it's clear water, and we say that it's all right if it's in the kidney, it doesn't have a foul smell. But if it's pungent, then treif is treifa.
I would suggest that any water that comes from the kidney of an animal is likely to have.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean it can be debilitating. It doesn't mean it'll kill it. Remember, treif only has to kill it.
Likely to smell.
Every part of the animal.
I'm saying,
But it has to be a foul smell, not a meaty smell. Akulya, a kidney, sheiktina, that shrunk. If a kidney shrinks, to what extent does it shrink do we say, oh, now it's a problem? Bidaka by a small animal at kipul, until the size of a bean. Bigasa by a large animal at kanova, until it gets right, bebenis. So, in other words, it's interesting. Having the kulya, and there's a problem with it, is worse than not having it at all. We still haven't figured out how a behemoth can live without two kulyas, without any kidneys. But even despite that, not having kidneys, the animal can be more functional than having a kidney that has these issues. The bottom jaw was taken out. Remember, the simonim are attached now to the flesh because usually the simonim are attached to the bottom jaw. So if the bottom jaw is not there, then you have no simonim. What's we're talking about? So the simonim seemed to be that it was connected to the bust there. When do we say that at the bottom jaw? Remember, that the bottom jaw has the animal eat. How's it going to survive? What do you mean it's not treif? So the loishan, you can give it to eat liita by pushing food inside, but it can. The difference liita and hamra, they both mean pushing food inside. Liita means I push it to a place that the animal doesn't like it, it can spit it out. Hamra is I push it all the way down, but the animal, whether it likes it or not, has to swallow it. So if the animal can survive by force feeding it, fine. But if the animal can't eat, then obviously it's safe. It's not going to survive without eating. Nitla aim shala, the uterus is missing. Says the Gemara. We learned aim. The word aim. Sometimes the word uterus has several words. Sometimes we use the word aim. Sometimes we use the word tarfachas, and sometimes we use the word shalfucha, which we had only a few days ago. Shalfucha. They all are the same thing. They are the uterus. The charusha de shemayim sheda. If the reason why it's sort of shriveled is because out of fear, but not because a human is scared it, but rather because of thunders and other things, then it's sheda because it can. We'll eventually recuperate. Let me learn. What's the definition of charusa that is shrunk, shriveled, kolshet, samko, reyer, shala? Now what? That it shriveled. Bidei shamayim is ksheda. If it happened as a result of some fear of, let's say, thunder and lightning, is kosher. Bidei adam, but if it by adam, a person, frightened it, treifa. Rav Shimon Elazar says, af bidei kol abrias. Also, if any creature, and a lion, instilled fear in the animal, doesn't say what. Is that like Dei Shemayim? Is that like Dei Adam? So the Gemara, is he adding to Dei Shemayim that if, let's say, a lion began to roar and the cow got all scared, that's considered Dei Shemayim and therefore it's not treif? Or Lakula, and we Mekel? Oh yeah, Sefer L'Chumer, he's saying no, that a lion or a human is the same thing. It's a physical thing, and therefore the animal is treif. It's not Tanya. We learned in the Braisa. Charusa b'dei adam treifa. The Braisa has a little different version. That if it was, if it's shriveled because of b'dei adam is treifa. So it's clear that he's coming to be machmer. Not only if a person frightened the animal, but even if what do you call it? If an animal frightened the animal. Rabba Chana have a cousin, but was going traveling once in the midbar. Actually found Hanadikri, these rams, did some. Reya did who? He found that their lungs shrunk. Also, so Medrash, he went and asked the base of Medrash, what should he do? How does he know? What's the cause? They said like this: depends if it's summer or winter. Big kaita in the summer, icy bring white earthenware, or melina mai kridi. Place cold water in there, and place these lungs inside it for 24 hours. If it then sort of expands again, it goes back, gets out of its state of being shriveled, b'dei shemayim, it's clear b'dei shemayim, and therefore the animal is kosher. The ksheda. The life, it doesn't change, then treifa is treifa. B'sisva, but if it's in the winter, I see you should bring mishichla. If it's in the winter, bring mishichla shechumi, bring earthenware, but these ones are dark. Umalina mai pshuda, and fill it up with warm water and vanchina, but the same thing, and put it in there. Hagluda. Then we learned in the Mishnah what happened if the hide was taken off. Rameh says it's kosher. Let's say for a disease or something, an animal lost its hide, and the Chacham says it's treif. Tanaban we learn Hagluda. Rameh is machsher. If it removed the hide, Rameh says it's kosher. And the Chachamim poisim, they pass them. Ukvar heyid Elazar Safra. Already we have the testimony of Elazar Safra and Yechon ben Gudgada. Ala gluda shepsula. They both testify like the Chachamim that what? That gluda makes the animal treif. But you should know that Meir himself also changed his mind, and he agreed that it's
How do you touch anything glued? Like it's got a scab on it? Or?
no, the hide was peeled off. There must be still something there, otherwise, But I guess most of the hide is taken off. We'll still see a little bit of hide left over. We'll say it'll grow back. So right there, was that made a change his mind. He agrees with the Chachamim that the animal trait can't survive like this. But Miklal. So the fact that Rav Shimon Loza said that Meir changed his mind means Rav Shimon Loza said Meir argued, but then he changed his mind. Miklal that Rav Shimon Loza polyg Meir beguda. According to Shimon Loza, Rav Shimon Loza agrees also that Meir argued by gluda, but then he changed his mind. Is but Tanya will it elsewhere Rav Shimon Loza loy nechlekura Meir v'chachamim ala gluda shepsula. That was never an argument in the first place. That the Meir always agrees with Chachamim that gluda is a treif. Ukvar heyid Rab Oishia b'noisha Rab Yehuda haboisem lifnei Akiva. Rab Oishia the son of Yehuda haboisem the perfume maker says testified before Rabbi Akiva. B'shum Rab Tarfon, the name Rab Tarfon, ala gluda shepsula. That gluda it makes the animal treif. But the im nishtaya boy kesela ksheda. If let's say there was a little bit of the hide left, the size of a cell is kosher because then it'll grow back. Over time, it'll grow back. So clearly, what you here that Shimon Elazar holds that Meir never argued in the first place, and yet you brought me another brayso. Shimon Elazar said Meir changed his mind. When Shimon Elazar said in the second brayso that Meir doesn't argue, not that he never argued, he no longer argues. He no longer argues. He agrees now to them. Okay. Now you said if the leftover. You said it was left over the size of a cellar of the hide will grow back. Now, do you mean the form of a cellar, a circle, or mean the total volume that it takes up as the size of a cellar? I don't care if it's elongated, rectangular. You said where? First of all, which part of the body? Many opinions we'll see. Shmuel said, "Apnei hashedra kula." It has to cover the entire shedra. The spine, and if it covers it, now in other words, could be, there's two ways to learn now. Does it mean that you need the width of a cellar going down the entire length of the spine, so then it will grow back? Or it means the total width of a cellar, but you can then open up the circumference and make a long strip, and that should cover the spine. So it can be very, very narrow. As long as it covers the spine, that's good enough. So that's what we're going to ask now. What do we mean by that? Ibailu, the adich v'katan. I don't care if it's long and narrow. No, you take that coin, you take the circumference of the coin, you measure it, then you undo along the length of the spine, long and narrow. If you add it all up, the volume it'll equal the contents, the volume of a cellar. You need the width of a cellar, the entire length of the spine. Tashma coming here. It says the Porish Rab Noroi Mashmei Shmuel Rab Noroi. Interesting, Rab Noroi is always a Tana, which we say is a Meir, and here he's an Amoya. Rabbi Noroi said the name of Shmuel. He said the name of Shmuel is the width of the cellar, the entire length of the spine. That's opinion number one. We're going to have now lots of opinions. Rabbi Babachon Amar Roshe Prokim. He says you don't need the entire length of the spine, you need where all the vertebrae are. You need only in certain places you need skin there, and then eventually it'll grow to each other, and then it'll grow around the entire body. And he said, but Rashi Prokim, not only the spine. He says Rashi Prokim also goes on where the thigh begins, and all the major parts of the body. So not just the spine. Shmuel said the spine. Then we had a question what he meant by the spine. Rabbi Bachana said. And we said that he said, Shmuel, that the entire length of the spine, you need the width of a cellar. He said, no, you just need Rashi Prokim, the vertebrae, with the hips, and so on, the major parts of the body. That's where you need a little bit of skin, the width of a cellar. Says you want to write, you need it where the navel is. That's where it was born. That's where he got his sustenance from, and that's where you need a little bit of skin. From there, it grows out. Boy, Rabbi Yanai, but Rabbi Shmuel. So Rabbi Yanai asked, according to Rabbi Shmuel, Nitul Mokum Hashedra. What about the other way around? Okay, Rabbi Shmuel said it has to be the Mokum Hashedra. What happens if the other way around? The entire body has its hide, and the only part that's missing is the shedra. You said before that we only have the shedder, the hide, it's going up, will continue growing. What about the other way around? Reverse. Nitul makam hashedra v'kulikaim. But everything else is kaim. Nitul, or according to the one who says makar tibure. What about the other way around? Nitul makar tibure. The only part that's missing the hide is where the navel is, the kulikaim. But the rest of the body kaim. According to the one who says Rashi Prokim. What about the other way around? Nitlu Rashi Prokim, the kulikaim. Mai. What's it in then? Now, how vital is it? Teiku. But Rav said, he argues on everything we just said till now. Till now, you said it has to be in certain regions. The question is, which region? The navel, the shedra, Rosh Prakim, 3 opinions. He says, doesn't matter where. I don't care where the oil is. If you have the size of a cellar in any part of the body, it's going up because eventually it'll grow back. The only part will not grow back is oil beis process. The hide by the hooves. From there, it will not grow back to the rest of the skin. Why? Because it's so tender and soft. We'll still see the Gemara. It's sometimes considered flesh. It's not even considered hide. But Rabbi Yochanan argues, I feel like the Beis HaProsas nami matzel. He said, Rabbi Yochanan says, even the Beis HaProsas also is matzel. His boy Yimenei, Rabbi Asi, Rabbi Asi asked Rabbi Yochanan a question. You're saying that oil of Beis HaProsas is considered not flesh, but hide, and therefore it'll grow back. It says, Oy, Beis HaProsas. So, the first thing Gemara said, Rabbi Asi asked Rabbi Yochanan question without knowing his opinion. You tell me, Oy, Beis HaProsas, Mawashi Yatzel Begluda. Yes, I hold that what? That is considered oil, and it will protect the rest, it'll grow back. You told us, you yourself told us, the following is, the oil is not flesh. The following parts of the oil is considered like flesh. And what is it? You said oil Beis HaProsas, and you told us, excuse me, that oil Beis HaProsas is considered like basar. So how can you tell me now that if the only part of the animal that's left is the oil Beis HaProsas, it'll grow back? Don't nudge me, and don't ask me, don't pester me. That then I told you was an individual opinion, but in halacha, the oil is oil, and therefore, the Tanya, who is that individual opinion? I'll tell you. The Tanya, we learn. I'm going to tell you, it's going to be Rab Shimon, and the Tanakhama argues, and we're going to, and we're going to. The Tanakhama holds the only oil that's not considered oil but considered flesh is the oil underneath the tail, but the rest of the oil, including the hooves, is considered hide. And if so, if the size of a coin is left where the hooves are, it'll eventually grow back. What's the story? Now remember, when we talk about a carbon, and you have in mind that you're going to eat the carbon outside of the right place or outside the right time, it's pigul. It's pigul. But you have to talk about eating apart. What about you had in mind to eat the oil underneath the hooves? That's what you had in mind to eat. Is that considered, you had in mind to eat chutzas? Is that considered eating food, or is that considered oil? So it's like this. Time to learn how shaykhid is oil. If somebody shechts an oil, by an oil you have pigul, not by eating, because nobody eats an oil. It's talking about you had in mind to roast on mizbech in the wrong time. But you had in mind what? Like to eat, to roast by an oilless roasting. A kazayas near the tail, which is really tender. Even though it's the hide, it's like flesh. Chutz l'mekayim pasul. If chutz l'mekayim, it's pasul in a kaddish. Chutz l'mani pigul v'chayav in a kaddish. So therefore, which hide is considered food? Only the region next to the tail. And Eliezer ben Yehuda ish evoli mama mishum Yaakov Rab Shimon Yehuda ish ekam mishum Rab Shimon. Echad oil Beis HaProsas. Rab Shimon who says no, that the oil Beis HaProsas is not considered hide; it's considered flesh. And if you had in mind to eat that part, chutz l'zmanei, chutz l'mekayim, it's called or roasted by an oil. Chutz l'zmanei is considered pigul. Or the hide on top of the head of a baby calf. Near the region, near the tail. And all those that were counted by Tumah. And we say that we'll see later that all these oils are treated not like oil but like basar lahavi, to include oil base haboishes, to include the oil around the region of the genitals. All of these all of that's considered flesh. So who's the one who says that the base process is considered flesh? Only Rab Shimon. And that's when I was saying that din over there. But according to us, it's oil. And therefore I argue with Rav, and I hold that if there's a cell left there, it will grow back. Okay, we'll stop painting tomorrow, Mitzvah Hashem.